Welcome everyone to the meetup about learning programming with ChatGPT. Well, it doesn't have to be ChatGPT. It can be any other bot connected with AI, and I will show you a few alternatives. But I guess most of you are familiar with ChatGPT, so we will use mainly ChatGPT. Okay then, so before I start, my blog, you can find it at blog.lifemichael.com. My company through which I provide the training services, mainly for software developers, lifemichael.com. You can access this link. I teach for, I think, nearly 30 years, and I love teaching. And I have lots of experience with different types of training. On the one hand, people doing the first steps, and on the other hand, experienced software developers in IT companies where I visit and deliver various trainings about lots of different topics, mainly advanced ones. I also produce online conferences. These are the links for those online conferences. And by the end of the meetup, I will send you an email with a code you can use to get a free ticket for each one of these online conferences. Okay, then let's start. So this meetup is for students and software developers who want to use AI as a tool for learning programming. And we will learn how to use ChatGPT or another bot for that purpose. The main target is to accelerate the learning process you have, whether you are doing the first steps or maybe you are already experienced developers. Accelerating the learning is crucial if you want to work in this domain. We will also learn how to overcome coding challenges. What is the most recommended way to do it? Because there are lots of uh, options. And we learn how to achieve deepen understanding of programming concepts. It's not enough to have ChatGPT, for instance, solving for you the problem. You won't learn a lot from that. There is a need to pay attention to small details when you interact with ChatGPT in order to understand the programming concept. Just having code that works is not enough. Okay, then. So let's start. And I believe that during this meetup, you will also acquire a few tips and more than a few best practices for you to succeed. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is about the prompt. The prompt is the text you type in ChatGPT or any other bot, and there is a domain, its name is prompt engineering, and prompt engineering is about how to write that prompt, that text, effectively in order to achieve the result you want. So first, go learn prompt engineering. If you know nothing about, there was a meetup I delivered about this topic. And like any other meetup, the video that is captured is uploaded on YouTube and you can find it in Life Michael channel. So just visit that channel, find the video, and learn a bit about prompt engineering. This is the first step. Then a small tip, don't ask simple questions. Don't ask explain for loop, explain the while loop. Ask a detailed question. You can say, you can write to ChatGPT, explain the for loop or while loop in Python with an example that prints the number from 1 to 5, and then show me a few beginner mistakes. So if you type something detailed like that, the result will be by far, by far more effective on your end. So start with that. Next. Some cases, when the response you get is not clear, try to introduce changes in your prompt. Remember the text you enter to the ChatGPT. This is the prompt, and there is an entire domain, prompt engineering. The more you know about prompt engineering, most likely your prompt will be better. So keep introducing changes in that prompt in order to refine the prompt, in order to get exactly what you wanted. So keep on drilling down till you get the expected response. Don't go move forward. Do that work and you will get better, by far more effective assistance from the AI you work with. Now about English. Well, English is actually the new coding language. If you check IDEs like Kiro, and if you check the Meetup page, you will find an upcoming Meetup about Kiro. Kiro, well, you can download it, but you can't use it, and you need to wait for a code from Amazon, the company that developed it. You will feel it. You will feel that English is indeed actually the coding language. But even without Kiro, we use English when we write the prompt, and the better English you have, the best. So if English is not your mother tongue, then make an effort to improve your English, especially when it comes to writing skills, because you need to express yourself in a clear, structured English. Otherwise, the result you get won't be as good as it could be. So, if, for instance, you speak Hebrew and you interact with ChatGPT in Hebrew, stop doing it. Start interacting with English. The results will be better, especially when it comes to more advanced topics. And if you want my advice, switch to English. Do everything in English. The only way to learn a language is to practice. It takes time. So switch to English if you want to work in software development. If you just play around, if this is just a hobby, okay, you can continue using Hebrew. But in my opinion, if you think about it seriously as a profession from now on, because in the past you could use Hebrew, that was fine, but from now on, you must have excellent English. Otherwise, you can't interact properly. So make that effort. Now, about complex code. Well, you can take complex code, maybe you try, just put it inside the chat, and you will get explanation. Now, do it. And when the explanation is not good enough, ask questions. You can ask for clarification. You can ask, please explain line 4, for instance. Please explain line 5. And you can ask why this and why that. Do it. It's kind of a private tutor, a private teacher. And when doing your first steps, it works, I can say excellent, actually. If you can choose the model you work with, the language model, then prefer working with Claude. But trust me, even the others, the ones coming from ChatGPT, the OpenAI, are pretty good. So just interact, ask questions about everything you don't understand. Now, when you get unexpected behavior when running your code and you get a message saying you got an error like this or that, don't just ask for a solution. I mean, you can take the code, put it in ChatGPT and ask it to fix it. You can do it. It will fix it, but you won't learn a lot from that. And this applies to everyone, whether you're doing the first steps or maybe you're dealing with advanced topics or difficult to understand topics, algorithms, recursion, backtrack recursion, functions, and so on. Don't just ask the AI to fix the code. Ask to explain. You can ask, here is a function I developed. It doesn't do what it should do. Uh, can you explain why? Well, I can demonstrate that too. It's very simple. Look, let's say that we have a function that calculate factorial. Okay, I will go to the IntelliJ. By the way, when using IntelliJ, um, you also have on you can install the chat. I mean, I think it comes together. It's not ChatGPT. It's something from JetBrains, but it connects you with AI. So you have a chat. So instead of interacting with ChatGPT, I can do it here, and that makes things simpler and more comfortable. And let's say that we have a function that should calculate a factorial. And now ChatGPT, um, not ChatGPT, sorry, the AI that comes with the IDs from JetBrains allows me to accept code it generates. So I can start coding and it will do the rest. I can tell him what to do and he will code it for me. So let's say we want to calculate factorials, so we can do something like that. Um, it can be a recursive function. It can be something simple. If it is something simple, then I can do something like that and eventually return result. Now, this code works. I mean, if I try to execute it, you can see it works fine. But let's sabotage and give it to the ChatGPT to solve the problem. I can say, okay, here is the code. The function, the following function should calculate factorial, why it fails when I pass over 3. And it explains what was wrong with the code, and that helps. And by the way, you could also do it from this chat. It's not ChatGPT, it's coming, but it connects the model you want to work with and select Claude. Usually Claude is the best. And you can specify why factorial doesn't calculate the correct answer, for instance. And it explains. So it's a great way to learn. Do it and specify exactly what went wrong so that you can get the exact help you want to get. Now, regarding debugging is crucial. It's crucial that you will have that skill, whether you use AI or don't use AI. Debugging in the IDE is the best way to understand exactly what happens. And I delivered a meetup about debugging in Java using IntelliJ, and actually it is very simple to debugging Python in PyCharm and JavaScript in WebStorm. So you can look for the video of that meetup in a Haim Michael channel and learn, catching up if you are not familiar with debugging. You can also ask the AI to debug for you, and it will create a table showing exactly what happened. Um, Also might be useful. Now, when you get an error message, as I said before, asking the AI to fix the code is not a good way for learning. Instead, take that error message and ask AI, can you explain? For example, you got null pointer exception. I got, um, can you explain, can you list cases in which such error happens? Can you guide me what should I be careful with? Ask those questions. Don't ask, fix me the code. Ask about the error. Ask for getting information. You can also get to the detailed documentation. In that case, if null pointer exception, go to the API documentation you have in Java and get the detailed documentation of the class null pointer exception. You can read more information about it. And if you don't understand something, ask AI. And if the answer is not sufficient, ask for clarification. So actually, it's an amazing tool that can help anyone who wants to learn. You just need to use it effectively. Now, in this meetup, I'm talking about software development, but it can also be helpful in other domains. As a student, if you just know how to use AI properly, you can benefit a lot. And of course, be careful of using it in a wrong way, which might lead for getting very lousy understanding of the domain you try to learn. Now, if you want to learn a new programming language, you can ask direct questions. You can write code in a programming language you know and ask the AI, please translate it to other programming languages. You can do it with ChatGPT, but you can also do it with other bots, as the one I have just demonstrated. You can also ask for explaining every line. But before that, moving forward step by step. If you have a big problem, now it can be a big problem you got from school, a project. Try to split that big problem into smaller problems and then dealing with each one of them separately. Now you can get AI help with handling the smaller problems one by one. Getting AI help when the problem is smaller is more efficient. So think about that approach. That might be very useful, by the way, not only when learning, also when developing your own programs, your own software applications. Think about breaking that entire system, entire application you develop into smaller pieces and then develop each one of them separately. For instance, if you have server side and you have the client side, and the server side is a collection of microservices, I suggest develop each microservice separately with the help of AI. That would be very efficient. Now, when you succeed to understand something, for instance, let's take a look at a loop. You understand how the loop works, but you can take that to other more advanced topics. You get an explanation for a code snippet that does something. You can ask for getting that same code in other programming languages. You can ask for getting that same code in a different approach, in a bit different variation. For instance, you can ask how to solve the same problem using a recursive function, not just a plain function. You can ask how to use the while loop instead of the for loop and things like that. Ask those questions, get the response from AI. If something is not clear, ask for explanation. Go line by line. Make sure you understand everything. Any question you have, ask. But remember, you must have good English and you must be familiar with prompt engineering. Otherwise, the response you get won't be efficient as it could be. So ask for another approach, ask for another way for solving the problem. It can list those alternatives and explain them to you one by one. Do it, whether you are doing your first steps or an advanced software developer that works on advanced stuff. Do it. That will open your mind and push you forward. Now, even with interview questions, you have an interview in a company, you can use AI to generate interview questions, even coding challenges. You can even tell him you are the interviewer. By the way, one of the first things we learn when learning prompt engineering is the role. When you enter a text to the when you give your prompt, when you provide the text to the bot, the ChatGPT, for instance, you can specify the role, and that might be very helpful. You can say, you are an interviewer in Amazon. Amazon, because at Amazon. Oh, I have a mistake. By the way, if you don't use Grammarly, start using Grammarly. You will improve the English. Um, you are about to interview a student for a junior position. Look how specific I am. I specify the role of the AI. I tell him the context, an interview for a junior position. It is important. It is a student. You should, so now I'm talking about the format of the response. What you should do. You should generate a lit code, a question for that student. Let's say you should create lead code question for that student about arrays. A format of your response should be a simple text with the solution. Let's see. Okay. So here are some questions with the solution. And these questions fit a student that is going to an interview in Amazon, and he knows that they are going to ask about to ask lead code questions, and trust me, the data on the web is enormous, is huge. So maybe those questions were fetched from somewhere, or maybe the model, the AI knows those questions because we trained, or not we, someone trained that model with data about interviews in Amazon, and maybe those questions are the questions we should expect. But pay attention, you must be very specific. Specify the role, specify the context, what is about, specify exactly what you want, and the format of the response. Be accurate with your requirements. Next, the other resources. Okay, the other resources, when I say other resources, I mean mainly the documentation. The official documentation we have for every library, for every programming language. For instance, in Java, we have the API documentation. It's not enough getting an answer from the AI saying, for instance, look, if I ask, what does the um, yield sleep function in thread class in Java, the sleep function in thread class in Java does. In general, what does it do? And then I get an explanation. So don't settle with that explanation. Go to the API documentation. Ask, not ask, search the API documentation. Um, Look exactly what is written there. Validate the AI reply. Validate it. Don't count on it. When AI doesn't know the answer, it generates something. It might be wrong. So my suggestion is not to work blind with the AI. Verify, validate. It is also a way to learn. It can be a question about a library, for example, React. So it says something, go to the documentation of React, validate. Don't settle with the reply you get from AI. Think about AI as a virtual assistant, not as a replacement for practicing and using other resources. You must have good skills. You must make an effort to improve your skills when it comes to using official documentation. You can't always count on AI because AI sometimes is wrong. So that is actually the next step. Don't count on AI blind. when it doesn't know the answer, it invents. It does its own inventions. Validate, verify. If it generated code, take the code and execute it. See that it works. Validate. Um, Take into account the possibility that you get something that is not of the highest quality because AI was trained on a huge amount of data, including code that wasn't written the best way possible. So you should take that into account. So that's it. Okay, I succeeded less than 30 minutes. And now, thank you for your attendance, and we will switch to the Q&A session.